Hey everyone, it's your girl Maddie here, aka Beaver Mosh, and today I got something a little different for you. I am very pleased to be joined from Bariann Tuite of Fiadh Records. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Well, first off, tell me where you're based out of.
I'm based out of New York. I'm about 20 minutes from the city, so technically on the Queens border. But I don't
Cool.
know if you could hear it in my voice, but this is New York.
Well, I am in Minneapolis, but you probably knew that because you have sent me tapes.
Yes, I have. I watched for your address, don't worry.
Yeah. Well, can we just kind of start off just telling me when you started Fiad and why? What kind of hole were you trying to fill?
Yeah, no problem. So I started FIA officially in I think June or May of 2021. Basically, I had a label called Broken Limbs back in 2012, I think. I
Hmm.
started that after I was interning at Earache Records, and I just saw all the demos that were piling up that weren't listened to.
Hmm.
And it was such a shame. And I was like, I think that I could do something here. So I started my own label with my ex-partner from Ireland, and we had a few really good years. And then I was working full time for an animal shelter doing communications, and I kind of just had to walk away from music because the just the animal welfare stuff was taking up my time, and it was really emotionally draining. And I just had a hard time doing both. So I stepped away for a while, and I went back to school. I had a baby, and then I just kind of like woke up and I was like, I really miss doing this. I miss
Hmm.
music so much. So I was in class, and I was on like Facebook or something, and I think I like reached out to Gary Brentz, who I worked with Broken Limbs, and I mean you guys are all familiar with Gary. Very
Hmm.
familiar. And I was like, hey, do you think this is a good idea? And he was like, yeah, it definitely is. So I just jumped right back in just because I missed it. And
Yeah.
yeah, more independence this time around because it's just me. And I think it was just yeah, I just missed it. I
Yeah,
don't have any excuse.
I'm sure you get to do so much more of what you want to do being this independent thing. But you said you interned at Earache. I'm very interested. What was that like?
Yeah, it was interesting. Not a lot of people know that Earache has an office in Long Island City. It was just like a lot of merchandise there, but I mean it's just like so random where it was located. It was like down the block from a Russian strip club, which which saw a lot of customers. Yeah, I mean I like wasn't working directly with Digby, but he did read our emails, which
Huh.
I found out the hard way. Um, I was doing a PR campaign for Cerebral Bore, which is a
Okay.
death metal band from Scotland. Yeah, which was the first time I saw a death metal band with a female singer, like up close and personal, which was awesome. There's like
Yeah.
more stories there. They came to New York and got arrested. It was a whole thing. But I was like emailing someone. I was like, yeah, I don't really like death metal, but I was kidding. I was mostly kidding. And then Digby read the email, and then he contacted the man, Al, the US manager, and he was like, "Are you sure that this is the right girl for this label? Because
Oh.
I see the worm rot behind you, which was a
Yeah.
lovely band to work with. That was one of the most involved bands in their own PR and album campaigns, and I was always super impressed because they're in a different time zone and everything, and they're just so on top of their shit, like
Hmm.
incredible. But yeah, I mean, I was there when they were repressing Morbid Angel, just like printing money,
Oh
basically.
yeah.
I mean, there's like their back catalog is so amazing. And obviously that stuff is like older than me. It's older than you. So I
Yeah.
wasn't like familiar with a bunch of it, but it was just like a lot of legacy to deal with. But also at the time they were like moving into more digital stuff and like deathcore that, isn't like really I'm like
Not
more
my
like
thing.
I'm like more like Carcass
Yeah.
Eric. But
Oh,
yeah.
are you more of a Heartwork Carcass or the earlier Carcass?
I'm a Heartwork girl, 100%. So my brother is the only person who thinks Swan Song is the best album, and
Oh
I haven't found anyone else who shares that opinion, unless
no,
you
that is
do.
a hot take.
That is a hot take, and I always tell him that. And I'm like, I'm always searching for one other person, and I'm like, that'll be your soulmate when I find them.
I'm sorry, I can't echo that, but I'm glad somebody loves Swan Song.
He's the only person who does.
Yeah.
But really, really quick, Carcass was smart. They kept their merchandising rights.
Yeah, no, that I mean a lot of artists get fucked that way.
Yeah, and Eric can't do t-shirts or anything because I was trying to get a shirt. I was, trying to like get a shirt. And it was
Yeah.
like the only shirt I wanted. It was the only shirt I couldn't get. And I was like, oh, now I appreciate that fact that they held on to that. That was smart.
I've seen Morbid Angel live. I've not yet to see Carcass live, but I've heard that they put on a good show.
I would love that. Not
Yeah.
like a Swan Song playthrough, but you know,
I wonder if they still play Swan Song songs live. I'm sure they probably play a
who
couple
would
tracks.
go? Who would go for Swan?
Yeah,
I'm gonna apologize if my brother watches this. Sorry, Sal.
yeah. Well, so you have a pretty diverse catalog now, from Fiadh. What are you looking for in an artist that you bring on, and how are you finding these acts?
This is gonna sound so lame, but this is what I do. Like for Broken Limbs, me and Pete, we used to go on YouTube. If you
Hmm.
you remember that channel, it was like Light Fox something.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah, it was like stuff like that. And like we would just like go on there. And I remember the first time we heard Yellow Eyes, it was like I would get this feeling when I heard like a particular riff. It's like I look for riffs, like guitar tones. It's so hard to describe, but I get this specific feeling. And when I get that feeling, and sometimes it's like 15 seconds into it, or it's like I can't explain it. I just know. I just know that this is like something that I want to put out. And usually it's something really pretty. Um, which you'll notice a lot of the stuff I put out is more on like the more like melodic side, some of
yeah.
it. And I always look for that like pretty moment that I guess that's really subjective. And like once I feel that moment, then I'm like, this is what I want to put on my label. And I know it sounds like so cliche, but it's really like the specific sound that like makes me feel like some sort of connection. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it, but also like aesthetics, I always look for animals.
Yeah.
If there's like an animal on the cover, like I'm gonna listen to it. But yeah, and if it's not like your specific, I mean, your generic color scheme of like black and white, if I like see some colors popping off on the Bandcamp page, like all right, like that's intriguing. So it's a
Are
bunch
you?
of different stuff.
I am going to ask you a controversial question then.
Okay.
Where do you fall in the Death Heaven camp?
Oh, God.
Because they did the pink thing, and I
Yeah.
will say admittedly, I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum. I don't like Death Heaven. Just doesn't work for me. But
I mean, like, Sunbather is a great album. You can't
okay,
really say it's not, but I'm on your side. I'm not a fan.
yeah,
Not. I think like George is a great frontman.
yeah,
He's a professional, and I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think I may have enjoyed it when I was younger, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I definitely, and it's not Death Heaven's fault, but
Yeah, it is.
okay, it is. But like the whole the pitchforkification of it, like
Yeah.
that's fine. But I didn't like being told by, and this is gonna sound super gatekeepy, but like being told that Death Heaven was like the pinnacle of black metal. Like, no, I'm just it just isn't.
Yeah.
But
No, they did tell us that. They did tell
yeah,
us like, oh, like this is what black metal is now. And we were kind of like handed that by Pitchfork, weren't we?
yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's pitchfork metal, I guess.
I
And
mean,
it still is.
Pitchfork has like champion stuff like Agalock and Mastodon, but they really did make Death Heaven a thing.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know, like, I know Pitchfork is like super controversial now, but that used to be like the make or break thing for metal bands. And I mean, that says a lot, I think,
Do they
about
even
like
still
where
cover
metal is.
metal? I did
What?
see a write up for Hell Ripper on the site not too long ago. I was
That's
shown it,
comforting.
but yeah.
I love Hell Ripper.
Oh, I adore Hell Ripper, and I think the new Hell Ripper is one of my favorite albums of the year thus far. It's just perfect black. I
It's
think
in
it's
my
his
top
best.
three. It
Yeah,
might be top one because I love Black Thrash, and usually it's like the opposite of wholesome. I'm
Yeah.
always looking for Black Thrash because that's my personal favorite. And like every time I like find a Black Thrash band, I look at the lyrics and I'm like, no, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no. But Hell Ripper is like one of those I guess rare exceptions where it's like I can like listen to it with my mom around and not like feel ashamed or
Yeah.
anything. So yeah, he's great.
Yeah, Black Thrash. Aren't you? I think I've seen like you post on your socials. Aren't you? There's my dog. Aren't you?
Hi.
That's Sammy. Aren't you an Ara Warrior fan?
Yes, I am. And
Yeah.
like I don't even know if that's a bad thing anymore because I know that I mean they definitely have tread some murky waters. But like I've never looked too deeply into it because I don't want to hurt myself anymore.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean that like Black Thrash Attack is just one of those like make or break albums for me.
I
Because
I have
yeah,
it.
it's just so good. You do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good, a fellow fan. It's just like so pure and like the energy. It kind
Mm.
of like takes DB further, and that was my bridge into metal. So
Mhm.
I have like a very soft spot for it.
I am seeing them at Maryland Death Fest coming up, and
Really.
I am so stoked. Yeah.
Every year I say I'm gonna go and I want to go, and then I'm just like, oh my God, it's 3 days. I can't do it. But
Yeah.
that would be like the band that I would go for. I mean, I didn't even did they even release the full lineup yet?
Yeah, I think they have a few band that they're waiting to announce, but most of it is out. I know My Dying Bride is like the big headliner, and then there's like Gore Guts. Uh, but yeah, no, I'm pretty stoked.
I mean, you know, like how you look at menus for restaurants that like you're not going to eat at, but like you just like looking at the menu.
Yeah,
That's kind of what I'm doing with these shows and these festivals.
I do that as well. I look at festivals in Europe that I'm never gonna go to. I'm not
So
gonna. I don't think I'll ever go to Wacken, but I like looking at the lineup every year.
I
Like
think like I kept telling myself, oh, one day I'll go there, but yeah, it's never going to happen. That's
yeah.
okay.
Well, let's go get back talking to you. How did you personally get into metal? Tell me your journey there.
So I started out with punk and crust
Hmm.
punk. That was what I listened to when I was preteen and a teenager. And that was like the group that I hung out with. I was part of that whole C Squat group in the city at Tompkins Square Park. Hung around a lot there. Um, Pretty much like bad news now. Looking back, we know a lot of stuff that was happening that we didn't know about or whatever because we were so young. We were like 14, 15 hanging out there. And then from there, my brother introduced me to Amoebics and
Hmm.
Crass and kind of like went into more of that harder side of punk and D beat. And then from there, right into black metal, right into Black Thrash and Dark Throne kind of was like another thing to like bridge the gap, but it was more from D beat to like black metal. That was my crossover. So I missed all that fun stuff that everyone else got, like Metallica and Megadeth. Like couldn't name a single song. Couldn't do it.
Well, I mean that's interesting because like Discharge definitely was a direct influence to like that Bay or like Exodus love Discharge. Like that crust punk definitely has its identity, and then you say Black Thrash, so like that makes perfect sense to me.
I mean, I
Eh,
just feel like I missed out on a bunch of like the core bands like Cannibal Corpse and all that other stuff. Like I don't know what else you would consider in that like Cradle of Filth, like that kind of stuff. Like
yeah,
I never
I
got to experience any of that.
I've also never gotten to Cradle of Filth, if I'm perfectly honest. But
It just,
yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
it's a bit over the top, but even like Opeth, like I didn't listen to Opeth until last year. I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And I just feel like there's a lot of stuff that I need to go back and listen to because they influence so many artists that I work with. And sometimes I just feel like super ignorant about it. And I need like a crash course in textbook metal.
I you have a record label. I don't I don't know if like knowing Metallica's back catalog is that required, but I
I
mean,
hope not.
yeah. I mean, just go listen to Ride the Lightning and then call it over. I mean, then you're
Is
good.
it like one of those bands that's like, oh, like first three albums? that kind of thing.
First four, I would say.
Okay.
It's like if you're gonna call yourself like a film aficionado, which I'm not. It's like you will go watch Citizen Kane just to know why people reference this, and then you're good. You saw it, you know.
All right, I see what you mean.
I love Metallica, but I don't think it's like as like I don't think you have to like dig into Metallica to be like a metalhead, you know.
I just feel like sometimes there's certain things that everyone knows except me, and I feel a little bit
Yeah.
left out.
Nah. Um. Well, have you been surprised that from the reception that you've gotten for Fiat thus far? Is that have you been? Were you expecting it to like grow to this extent?
No, I mean the fact that it has even grown, I'm shocked. I mean, Broken Limbs, like I think just because of the time, it was like the time when Brooklyn Vegan and all those sites and like Noisy were around and they're like
Hmm.
looking for those smaller labels. So there was like a lot of spotlight on it. And I think now because it's like so saturated with labels and labels like closing all the time, I didn't think anything was going to happen. I thought it was just going to be like for me and for the artist and maybe like their friends and family. So I was really surprised that it's been growing. And I mean, it's a great surprise because it's so much fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely surprised. Everyone is so much nicer these
Yeah.
days. I think it was really obviously it's still male oriented, but it was really bad in the 2010s. Like it was horrific. And
Hmm.
just like the energy was so off and it was like disgusting. Not that it isn't still disgusting, but it was like
Oh
even
yeah.
worse. So I think now like the community is more diverse. People are kinder because they're not all men in their 30s, which, you know, obviously it's people are going to be nicer, but I think that also the internet has opened it up more. Like I know like we had internet back then, but now people are communicating more with like Discord and
Hmm.
Instagram and stuff. And I think that it makes people feel like they could be closer to one another and then share more. And I think when you have those like personal connections, you're more willing to put your creative art out there. And I think that has allowed more artists to step up and to submit their materials in general. And I think that's great. It's just so much more open.
And I think it opens up for like labels like you that like champions like POCs and queer people and women in metal. And I'm glad that there are other labels like yours and other sources like media sources as well that are making that happen.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's great. And I think that it kind of bypasses that old thing that you needed to know people and have connections to
Mm.
get stuff on a label. Because if you didn't like know someone, you were fucked. And now it's so much better because you can just shoot someone a DM and you know get ears and eyes on your music if the person is willing. And I think that when you have people who take the time to do it, even just one person to take the time to listen, I think it makes a big difference. And someone who might not have the confidence, if just one person
Yeah.
gives that chance, it could open up so much.
Which, by the way, thank you because your label was kind of one of the earliest kind of like supporters of the show and kind of sharing it out there. So that means a lot.
Oh, of
So
course. No, I
yeah,
like love your show. First of all, you have really good taste.
thank you.
And yeah, and you're really open and I like that you're willing to like learn and grow because we're all doing that.
Yeah,
And just like you're so friendly. Like I love you. You're great. So
thank
keep
you.
doing what you're doing.
Well, I'm gonna ask you a bit of a fun question because I've seen some posts around it, but do you game? Like I've seen you like post about kind of the Elder Scrolls, like signing an Elder Scrolls based band, and
Yes,
I've seen it. Yeah,
I do. I suck
okay,
though.
that doesn't matter.
So I didn't play video games growing up because my
Yeah.
brothers didn't let me play with them.
Oh,
And
that
then like
sucks.
I know. So now as an adult, I was like, oh, like here's a PS2. Let me like play Skyrim, which I played first. So I didn't play Oblivion or any of those other games. I played Skyrim first. It was the first game I ever played ever. I played two games my entire life, Skyrim and The Witcher. And I did play NHL 07. which I'm really good at. But
Okay.
so yeah, like, and I just started playing Oblivion, but yeah, and like Skyrim, it was like my first introduction into gaming, besides a brief like World of Warcraft thing, but whatever. And it's so much fun. I love it, but I will not do like the online stuff because the one time I did it, there was like everyone was 12 and like because I just had this bad World of Warcraft experience with like
Yeah.
because I was Alliance and like all these like 12-year-olds were like camping out over me, and every time I like died and came back, they would just kill me all over again for hours.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was they're like cartwheeling over my corpse. So I just like to like pick flowers, collect books. I have a spreadsheet and not be violent, but just like be in the universe.
PvPers in any gaming community can be toxic. It's a well documented fact.
Yeah,
Uh,
I didn't realize, and everyone was so young. I was like, what are you doing?
I funny, I just talked about this on another podcast, but I never got too like far into any of the Elder Scrolls games, but I did play a lot of Skyrim when it came out. I was in high school. I also played Oblivion. I never touched Morrowind. I think I was too young when that came out. But
I don't even know like where to even find that, or I don't
yeah,
even think I have a system for that.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, don't think that I've gotten far because every time I get to like a certain point, I just restart because that's like the kind of like OCD thing I have. I just because
I know
I
what that's like.
yeah, and like every
Yeah.
time like a horse dies, I have to like restart.
Yeah, you feel attached to the horses.
Yeah, I have a hack to keep Barbas, the dog. He actually doesn't leave. If you don't complete that quest, he sticks with you and you have an immortal canine companion for the entire game.
Hack.
But you can't sneak around because he barks all the time. So you just have to like give up being able to like have any kind of stealth whatsoever. But you do get a dog who doesn't die. So that's
I
really
I remember as a kid, like 12-year-old Maddie playing Halo, and whenever I would accidentally like run over a Marine or one of my soldiers died, and I could have prevented it, I I restart. I restarted the
yeah.
last checkpoint. I couldn't handle that. I couldn't do it.
No, I'm the same way. If like one of my followers accidentally dies, like
Mhm.
restart from the beginning. Doesn't matter how far it is. It's just like I can't like emotionally handle it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I've never gotten to the end at all. I've never even gotten halfway because I just keep going back to the beginning.
I know there's a lot of talk about Elden Ring these days. I still haven't done it, but I know I feel like I need to try it at
I
some
heard
point.
it was hard and
That's
like
what I've heard too.
I'm not good. Like I have trouble walking around or in a straight
Yeah.
line and like I can't do any of like the stuff that you need to do quickly. Like I need to get someone else to do it for me because I get nervous. So, and also I have to play on silent because the Draugr like they scare the shit out of me.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I'm like a baby gamer, but I do like I love the universe and I love like that it's seeped into black metal because I think it's perfect.
Yeah, why do you think black metal is so into like fantasy RPGs? Like where I've asked other artists this too. Like there seems to be this connection.
That's like a PhD dissertation question.
Yeah.
I mean, I think like that's where it started. Unfortunately, with Burzum and stuff, you get like the starting point. It started in fantasy and medieval folklore and stuff. And I think it's like part of it's that mythological aspect with, the bullshit heritage stuff. But also, I think there's like some kind of role playing aspect where, when it's just you're like the only listener, you're the only musician, you could be whatever you want. And like, why wouldn't you want to be like a sword wielding, dragon slaying knight? I guess. I have
Yeah.
no other explanation for it.
I mean, as someone who is obsessed with a game myself, who plays constantly, it's what I do when I'm not doing it. It's what I do when I do the show. When I edit, I
Which games
typically
is
play.
that?
I play a lot of RuneScape.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's great. But there's a lot of stuff you need to do in the game that's a little more passive that you can kind of just do on the side. So when I'm editing, I am constantly, getting my XP. That's the game is a huge part of the creative process of Beaver Mosh. If you wanted any behind the scenes
I
kind of
mean,
knowledge there.
it's a nice thing to go hand in hand because they're both
Yeah.
creative, and if you could do both at the same time, why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
I did try what is it, Morkburg? Did I say that? What is
I'm,
that role-playing game? It's like Mork something.
oh, I don't know if I'm familiar.
One of our Discord servers, we played it. It was like my first time doing role-playing game, and like I could not do anything else. It was so involved, like because
Yeah.
you have to like talk and like play a character. Like I had to stop work and just focus on that game. And like I cannot do that. That was too much. So any kind of
Yeah.
like passive game, like what you're describing in Skyrim is like that's the kind of game for me. But I, like
Yeah.
role playing stuff, I respect it so much because you need so much creative energy to do that. Like that's like a musician thing. That's not something for me. But I think that is like it's extremely cool. I do want to learn more about it, but I cannot do it.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
Well, you also your label kind of has, unless I'm wrong about this, but you kind of have a partnership with another label based in the
Yeah.
UK, Vita Dita Stabilis. Tell me about that.
So that's Irene and Lucia. So and I know it's not pronounced Irene, but like in my head I always it's Irene. So she was
Okay.
editor for Subterraneo, which was it kind of is like this big metal publication, and she reached out to me when I started Fiadh, and she was like, "Oh, I'm starting a label too. Like, let's work together." And I was like, "Yeah, that's awesome because shipping sucks.
Yeah.
And if like we could have the same releases that are available both in North America and in the UK and Spain, where she's located, her partners from Guatemala and Mexico, but she's located in Belfast currently. And it helps so much because first of all, you get the cross exposure for the artists themselves. They get North American press and they get European press because we have separate contacts from
Yeah.
her media work and my past PR work. And then with shipping, we get copies sent to both of us. So whoever is located closer to the artist ships their copies. You don't have to worry about cost for that. And then shipping, if someone wants the album, they don't have to pay like $15 to get it.
Yeah.
Because whatever, if someone wants something from her, like I just let her know, like, hey, can you send this next time? And she just sends it to me and vice versa. So it's, money saving also, and our values are the same.
Yeah.
Anti-fascist labels run by women, you know, open to minority voices, don't tolerate any bullshit. So it was just absolutely perfect that she reached out to me, and I love her to death. So yeah, I think our partnership is really great and it's really unique in that it's not like a distro partnership. It's like co-releases
Yeah.
and distro and just, working hand in hand just to support each other.
Yeah, that's fantastic. For a little bit, I was like confused when I first heard of it. Like, is this the same thing with two
Uh,
different
our
names? But yeah.
our tastes are definitely different. If you like look at our releases, you could see that she's like, if you have like, it's like Barbenheimer. I'm the Barbie movie, and she's Oppenheimer. It's like two dual things, and she loves like death metal, doom metal, and sludge, and like I'm like on the other side, like give me like the pretty guitar and all that, and like the animal synth. So that's where we
Yeah.
divide, but there is some crossover.
I like both of those things.
And that's what we're going for. So
Yeah.
yeah, appeal to everyone.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. And also, you talk about those that, and I was gonna say this earlier. You talked about that, like knowing, like 15 seconds in, oh, that tone, those words. Like I'm a black metal obsessive. That you didn't have to explain that to me. I get that intuitively. Like, oh, I hear this, oh, that those licks, those tremolos, and especially played in a certain way with a certain kind of
The tremolo,
graininess. Like
yes.
I get it. Like, oh, and it only makes sense to people who get it, right?
I just got goosebumps from you describing that. Like I just felt like chills. Because yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to say, but I couldn't say it.
I
'Cause
it's kind of my job.
yeah, exactly.
uh yeah, no, going through like some of the new releases this came. There was like specifically an EP that I listened to where it's like kind of lo-fi but not, and melodic, but also had some like really aggressive parts, and just the way it's just sounded and felt coming off my headphones, like holy shit, this is why I like black metal, because it makes me feel this way.
So
Yeah.
like the excitement that you have right now, like that's exactly what I'm going for. And like that's what I try and get with like every single thing that I do, which
Hell yeah.
it's impossible sometimes, but like you know, even if I don't feel that, if I feel that like someone else might feel that way about it, like then I'll be like, all right, like this might not be my cup of tea, but if
Mm-hmm.
like I hear the potential for it to make someone else feel like that, like then it's still worth it to me. Because my taste isn't always like everyone else's taste, of course.
I for the longest time, like there was definitely sludge bands that I enjoyed, but like I don't think I like understood it completely until I
I
like
still
started.
don't. I don't.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fair, because
Whoa.
I was the same way. But then I kind of listened to, I think I listened to another podcast, and people talk about sludge and why they enjoyed it, and having them like talk about it and explain what it made them feel like. Okay, I'm gonna put myself in those shoes, and I started listening to sludge with those ears. Like, oh, I get it. I get why sludge is appealing, and I started to enjoy it and kind of dig deeper into it. So like I think having like that excitement and trying to figure out why other people feel it is definitely a valid and a good approach.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had that moment for Sludge. I know we put out a bunch of Sludge and Broken Limbs, but like I think so, you know, when you work with a partner, you kind of trust their taste for that, for like what they specialize in. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wish that I had been more involved in like the subgenres that I didn't know more about. But yeah, I haven't had that moment for like Sludge, and like Funeral Doom is another one that like I just haven't had that like, but I'm on like the edges of it trying to like
Mm-hmm.
understand it. So those are the two areas that like I'm trying to work on. Like for me, and because I know that there are like so many fans out there.
Yeah.
So those are, I know I've like yet to go into those, but I mean I'm never gonna say no to anything.
I I do love Funeral Doom. It was like I just recently got into like really into like I've enjoyed brutal death metal, but like really getting into it, and then like but I still like slam. I have a hard time, and then like sometimes tech death kind of goes over me, but sometimes I'm like really into it. It's kind of like give or take for me. Sometimes I love it. Sometimes I just it doesn't work for me, and it's like one of those genres for me.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
also like I feel like not being a guitar player and having spent time with guitar players,
yeah.
I feel like some stuff is off limits for me, and I know that that's not valid because you know anyone can listen to anything, but like some of that stuff I just feel like it goes. And
Mhm.
also like I'm terrified of space. So anything that's like centered around space, which is most tech death, to be
Yeah, it
honest.
is.
And like anything that blood incantation touches or any of that, it's just like I just like I can't do it because I start like getting nervous and my anxiety goes. So like yeah, so space in general, I just
Mm.
so that's tech death. It's very space
Yeah.
oriented. So
That's funny because where I got to see for this immolation show, Blood Incantation with the opener. They were pretty great, but yeah, I could see like that's like yeah, there is that fascination with like the cosmos and just like
yeah.
interplanetary stuff. I don't know why. It's the same thing with like the medieval thing in black metal. There's just kind of like a thematic interest through the genre.
I feel safe in medieval times. Like I feel very comfortable there. But space, no, like let's focus on the ocean. There's plenty going
Yeah.
on. We can deal with it. But speaking of blood incantation, I am putting out a side project of Paul
No
called
way.
yeah, we so he used to run a label called Woodsmoke.
Okay.
Um, it was a tape label and they put out like early Alda Mania, stuff like that. And like if you go on Discogs, there's like a very devoted group of people to Wood Smoke tapes. And
Hmm.
he put out all of his own projects, and I don't know if a label called Pisanta or Folk was also involved, and it's like very controversial stuff. A lot of it was lost. So Hanging Moss was one of the bands that was Paul's solo project, and it's like very beautiful. And also Skyrim reference, I think, is in there. But it's like very beautiful instrumental stuff, not Blood Incantation at all. But
Yeah.
that actually, I should have that soon. That'll be one of the first vinyl releases that I worked on. So that'll be coming out soon. And
Hmm.
not a lot of people know about Paul's side projects, but he has so many, and they're all so good.
Well,
But
I
yeah,
mean,
he's very talented.
Blood Incantation did an ambient record, so it's known that them as a collective have a very diverse taste and do other things other than their space metal.
Yeah. But Hanging Moss and all lowercase. Um,
Okay.
very good stuff. So I'll have that soon. So that'll be good for Blood Incantation fans. That'll be as close as I get to space
Yeah.
for now.
Cool.
That's it. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned well that's a great segue because you mentioned the tape thing and you it seems like not always but your label does focus on cassettes and tapes and talk to me about that format. Why do you think it's so prevalent in like our scene, like underground aggressive heavy music?
I think because we love a throwback,
Hmm.
and we love to make things as difficult as possible. So like let's get the thing that's the most annoying to listen to on the most outdated equipment. Um, let's break out the Walkmans. There you go.
Yeah, these are all from you.
Yes, I love to see it.
Yeah.
For me, it's the aesthetics.
Yeah.
They're so small and cute. Like they're just I just like love tapes because with vinyl it's like all like heavy, unwieldy,
Yeah.
storing, like look behind you, all that
I
heavy
mean, I
stuff.
love it too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like I still don't know. I mean, I've tried all these storage solutions, but tapes, they're so cute and you could just do so much with it. So, I mean, think about what goes into designing a cassette tape. Say Maddie's releasing an album. Maddie gets to make so many decisions. You get to decide what color the tape is, what you're going to put on the tape itself, what the J card's going to look like, if it's going to have like 18 panels like a punk tape, or if it's
Yeah.
just gonna be simple, what kind of case you're going to get, and like the whole vibe, what else you're going to throw in there, because shipping is not as complicated as it is for records. So you can like throw all kinds of bullshit in there, and like you there's just so much more artistic freedom, I feel like. And also because it's not cost prohibitive, you could do more with it and you could experiment more. And I think you could just there's just so many tiny decisions that go into cassettes that make it unique for each artist. And
Hmm.
that's what I love about it. Also the shipping. I love the shipping.
Yeah.
It's not
And
like $6.
I definitely did not plan to ask you this, but as I reached back, I randomly grabbed this Gallagher tape, and I gotta ask how this happened because this is kind of like it's kind of like a cult classic amongst like like
Yes.
raw, frosty, lo-fi black metal nerds, and you got it and you put it out. That's incredible. Like
I'm
that's
glad I'm not the only nerd because I do have the original one. And I didn't even realize what label it came out on. So of course we all know what happened
hmm
with the label. And one of the things that I love the most was the artist was so transparent about it and took back his music. And I wanted to help do that because he's a
yeah.
great guy and so talented. I have all of his early stuff and I'm like so proud to have it. And the fact that his music could have been tarnished by this one shitty label, totally unfair. And obviously, like poor decisions are made, but we all learn and grow. And second chances are totally fine if, you're not a dick, which he's not. He's, obviously a good guy with good values. So I had no problem putting this out again. The music is so good and it deserved to be released on his own terms
Yeah.
because that label sucks. And there's more coming. There's a split coming. So there's new music coming.
Tell me more. Holy shit! I'm like getting so excited now.
So it's a split with Seder,
Okay.
and I've heard it, and it is so good. And it's like everything you would expect, but it's pretty. Like it's pretty stuff. It's not as raw as the older stuff. I could send it to you later. I think you'll like it. But
Perks of
he
doing
does,
this. Holy shit.
yeah. So I've been really excited about that and
Yeah.
kind of like holding that back. We're talking about vinyl. For now, we're like focusing on a tape release, but there's a split, and then I think there will be a full length coming up. So I don't know how many years it's been since the last album, but I know he's been working on it for a while, and I think he like deserves this redemption for sure.
Yeah.
But it's really, really good.
Yeah, we don't go in here, but if anyone's interested, there is a well documented. I think you could find a pretty well shared article just about kind of Gallagher's redemption arc, as you say, and kind of coming to terms with kind of the past and like kind of forging a new path for himself. It's really inspiring and it's worth a read and checking out. Um, so another thing about your label that it's very apparent like right when you open like your Bandcamp page or your socials is you talk about supporting animal rescue and welfare. Can you talk a little bit about that and why that's so important to you?
Yeah, of course. I grew up with dogs, like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
dogs, rescue dogs, and my one of the first places I worked for was the largest no-kill shelter in North America, and that's where I started my PR career. I mean, I started in music, but on the non-music side, that's where I started. And then started working for another PR firm that dealt with nonprofits and animal related companies. And I started doing consulting and freelance work for animal shelters and just went from there. And then I've been doing that the whole time while I've been doing music stuff and music PR. So I've always been in both industries and like volunteering with shelters and just helping where I can because like animals need social media and PR too.
Mm-hmm.
They also need representation. So that's always been a big part of my life. And my mom is really inspiring. She's always volunteered at shelters and always taken animals, like any sick or injured wildlife. We would always bring it inside or bring it to the vet, whatever they were. And with broken limbs, we did some animal stuff. And same with the Metal Cats book. We worked that in and we did raise like a good amount of money for it, but it wasn't enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do like so much more with it, and I
Yeah.
just couldn't figure out how to make it work. So this time around, I was like, let me just like put it out front from the beginning that this is going to be the main focus instead of it just kind of being worked in. So I figured if I put it out there that this is what I wanted the label to be, then it would kind of organically become that. And I think that it's like finally getting to the point where I feel like we're actually like making a dent because there's so much need. And people, I'm
Yeah.
sure, getting so fatigued from compilations and causes and different stuff that needs fundraising. But I mean, every single choice and every dollar, like for animals, really does make a difference. And I think we're really doing it. Thanks to
Mm-hmm.
the artists being so generous with their music and their time and willing to do that. It doesn't take much to make a difference. And just by allowing your Bandcamp purchases to go toward a charity, I mean, you're like literally saving lives. And I think it's like such an easy thing to do. We don't realize it. Instead
Yeah.
of that dollar going for like, I mean, artists do need the money, of course, but instead of it going to me and like getting, I don't know, like better envelopes, like why not why not put it toward, rescuing wildlife instead? Just stuff like
Yeah.
that. Just small choices that make a big difference.
Mm-hmm. I think
So
I was
I
listening.
just I just went off there, but yeah.
No, it's great. I love hearing that stuff. I was listening to I was just listening to an episode of the Cave Dweller podcast, which I was recently on. So I was kind of listening to their back catalog, and one of the guests talking about how like if you have some sort of platform, you should use it in some small way to like make some tangible thing, whether it is putting out some proceeds to a cause or even like donating or putting some time into one of those samplers. Like it does help and it is important, and I'm glad to see that labels like yours is doing that.
Yeah, of course. And like artists don't have to donate to animal related causes. They get to pick whatever they want. Like if they decide to do the name your price for like an indigenous charity, which we've done, like that's totally fine as long as, it's going to a good cause. It doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily have to be animals. And I always want to make that clear that it's like never going to be like a forced thing. It just, a
Yeah.
label exists naturally to help animals, but if
Yeah.
we can help other causes too, like that's even better. So we've been able to do that so far as well. So any kind of cause that helps people or animals that need it,
Mm.
it's fine with me.
Well, and then this, and I would say also your label has definitely kind of been a microphone, I would say, for like a lot of trans artists to really like, especially a trans black artist to really get their music out there, which I think a lot of people really appreciate.
Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
there's just so much creative talent, and I think the queer community, it was it always had the talent and the artists. So it's not like it came out of nowhere. It was always
Right.
there.
No.
It just wasn't recognized. And some of these artists, like their work was out there, but they didn't get to be the individual that they are and coexist alongside the music. It was like them or the music, if that makes sense. And I think that, not making a point that, oh, like this is a trans artist or whatever, just saying this is an artist and just allowing it to like shine naturally, I think is really important. And to not
Mhm.
like, because I know some labels like, oh, like this is a queer label, this is, and just like making that label. And I think that like not making that like a descriptor or a sticking point kind of allows people to just be artists at the same time. But also, I always want everyone to feel comfortable. And I think that that was lacking, like that kind of infrastructure in the community. So to be able to provide a platform for these amazingly talented individuals, I feel so
Yeah.
privileged to do that.
Yeah, no, that's phenomenal. And you bring up an interesting point. Like there is kind of that, is this for, well, we'll use trans for like when you use that as a good descriptor. Do we want to like emphasize, oh, this is a trans artist, or this is an artist, and just the trans thing is a fact, but we don't mention it. But like for like me, it's like, I don't want to limit an artist and like make that the reason why, like they are a great artist on their own terms, but also like I want to be like inspired by the fact that there is somebody of this marginalized group doing this music, and it's like kind of like a, I'm not quite sure where I land on like on that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where I land either. And I don't
Yeah.
think that I should be the one to make that decision, because I'm not trans and I'm not queer. But I want to respect the fact that people, if they want to identify their music a certain way, that's definitely their choice. And I want other people to be inspired. So when an artist wants to use that descriptor,
Yeah.
when they tell me that's, then I'll definitely put it. But I would, I definitely feel like that should be their decision. But either way is obviously extremely valid. But I think that that should definitely be a choice. And it's not for publicists or labels to say, oh, this is queer music. That should be the artist's decision for sure.
I like personally, I mean people, I mean I haven't like made it like a secret, or I don't like not talk about it, but like I'm not a queer YouTuber. Like in the sense of like that is like
Yeah.
my job. Like I talk about metal. I just happen to be this, and like if somebody sees that there's someone like them doing a thing on the internet, I hope that maybe that can like open doors for someone else to maybe feel like they can do it too. But like it's not like it doesn't describe the work I do.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, and I love that you're just existing in this space as you
Yeah.
and talking about what you know and what you love and just being Maddie and not
Yeah.
necessarily a specific thing. And I think that's like that's what we're here for. We're here for the music. And if that inspires someone and helps other people celebrate themselves and what they love at the same time, like that's perfect.
Hmm.
We need more of that for sure.
Appreciate that. Well, let me ask you this. Was there a specific release that you put out that you felt, okay, this this thing I'm doing, Fiat, it's gonna work out. This label makes sense for me to keep doing.
No, no.
Yeah.
Every time sometimes, I mean, like, I love every release, but
Yeah.
sometimes this is just so fucking weird. Like with Frog Concert, I was like, no, no way. No, like, is anyone gonna listen to this? And that's like the most popular release I've ever put out. And I don't get it. Like I think it's so great, but I'm like, I did not expect that to happen. I mean, some stuff like that I'm trying to think like what I mean, I knew like people are gonna love Lost Tag.
Yeah.
Like she didn't think that, but I knew it. And I think that was one of the releases that I was like, and I didn't see it in terms of like the label working, but like I saw it as in like the release working. Everything she does is amazing. And I need her to see that. So hopefully her confidence grows along with her success on the label. But in terms of like releases, I think that I felt really strongly about.
Hmm.
Bergfried, I think is so great, but I think
It's
it's like
so fun.
but like I feel like people are afraid to like really like dive into it because it's too fun, maybe. So I really thought like that was gonna be
Yeah.
way bigger. That was the only thing that I was surprised about. I think the new album people are really gonna like, but yeah,
That Burke Friday album did get a write up in Stereogram. I remember when it came out, they do their whole like 10 metal album of the month, and it was they mentioned it, so like that was
I'll take
but
it. Yeah.
yeah.
I think yeah. I don't know. I just want people to have more fun. But yeah, there's like nothing that I don't think I've like had anything that I saw as like, oh, like this is gonna like be like super mainstream and I don't think I've like gotten anything like that yet. There's like no Deaf Heaven. But I mean agriculture, like I knew what was gonna happen with that because I knew that they were looking for a bigger label. And obviously even with Broken Limbs, like we had artists go on to Century Media and I'm like, that's what you're here for. Like we're here to help you, facilitate you
Yeah.
achieving what you want to achieve. And with agriculture, I knew that they wanted to move to a bigger label. And I had a feeling it was gonna be the Funzer. And I mean I'm so happy for them, but I did not expect their album to be as big as it is. Like I'm so proud of them. The
Mhm.
fact that it charted on Billboard is like incredible. So
Yeah.
I would love to see them be the new Def Heaven, but like not in like a meme way. You know what I mean?
No, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But I think if like I had released their new album, like that would have been like it, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
But yeah, I think it belongs in the Flenser. It like fits perfectly with that roster. But yeah, I haven't had that like big record yet, but we'll see.
And Lustag is legitimately fantastic. I did not review it
So good.
just to review it. Yeah, it's
Yeah, and
vampiric, it's raw, yeah.
the stuff she's working on is incredible. She's like not only prolific, but it's like it doesn't get boring. And the split she's doing with Forrest, with the Enya covers, I have like never been more excited about an album my entire life.
And
So
from
fun.
the obviously the black metal epicenter, where like so much of it's coming out of Montana.
Yeah, I was like, what is going on? I don't even know where Montana is. Like I think it's like up
It's up and to the
to
left,
the
to the
left.
west. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's like a square. It's a big
It's
square.
a big square, yes.
Yeah.
I
That's
think
all.
I could be so there's California, and then there's Oregon and Washington. I think you go
And
like
there's some
Idaho
stuff
and
in the middle.
Montana. Yeah.
Yeah.
Up top, yeah.
So I'm like New York, Chicago, California. I don't know like anything else in the middle, but now I know Montana and I know Missoula because Uav is from the same town as Eleanor. And Captain Jazz is from the same town in Montana. So
Captain
like
Jazz from Montana?
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, I think his description was like a
Yeah.
9-piece from Utah or something nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all from the same town. And I still like couldn't tell you what it is about Montana, but there's something going on there that I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty great. I still don't know where it is, but I'd love to visit.
There, you heard it first. Montana is the new
Yeah,
tourist destination for metalheads.
I mean,
Let's
it really
all
is.
let's all plan a trip. Can't wait to go to
And it's
Montana.
crazy because like Montana is legitimately, I think, dangerous for a lot of people. Like, and politically, it seems like it's, not where you would want to be. And the fact that these artists are still like flourishing and creating all this
Hmm.
stuff, I think is like a testament to how strong that they are.
Yeah, no, that is inspiring. Um,
I
what's
mean, so I just like, I'm so amazed by some of these artists sometimes. So like it makes me want to cry, but in a good way.
yeah, that Stare album that you just put out was fantastic, just great, like symphonic black metal. I talk about in my review, like symphonic black metal sometimes gets a bad reputation. I don't always know why. Like I think there's some fantastic potential in using those combination of sounds.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like symphonic black metal, and I will put that out there. I am not a fan, but Josh is like he like wields it really well.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know how he creates so much music all the time. 'Cause he has so many projects. But yeah, that album is like it's so unique, and I think he really achieved something there. Like, because the last album he put out was really good, but this one was like just devastatingly good. So
Hmm.
I'm super proud. And he's like, I think he's gotten a lot of great feedback on it, which I mean, I'm pretty sure that this is the most feedback I've seen for any album that he's done. And I think that it's like touched everyone in a significant way. And I'm just like so thrilled for him. And I hope, I mean, I can't imagine him topping this, but I have a feeling that he'll be able to.
What
And
he
that's
just
just
stare.
from Kentucky. That's like another hotbed now. It's Kentucky metal.
Well, you mean we have Panopticon, which
Yeah.
I get
And
to
of course
ca-
they know each other.
yeah, of
Everyone
course I
knows
know.
each other. Yeah.
I get to kind of claim Panopticon now as like a hometown artist because he moved just up north, northern Minnesota. So
Oh, there you go.
yeah, but
You also have Book of Sand.
Book of Sand, and we're having a death metal moment here, especially with Majesties.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't even know that you guys were the new hotbed.
yeah,
My uncle lives
Obsequiae.
in Minneapolis, and like when I went there, the only thing that I saw him listening to was like Butthole Surfers and Helmet. And yeah, so like this is unexpected.
We're no, we're known for our dad punk scene is what I would call it. You know, like the
That's exactly
replacements
yeah.
and like Husker Du or Husker Du or however you pronounce it.
Yeah, he had a bunch of those.
um, what's your scene like? Kind of where you're at?
Um, Paralysis is a good way to
Oh,
describe it.
yeah, I love Krallis.
Yeah, so that was like the 2010s. I would just describe it as like one big Krallis moment. Very Brooklyn, very yellow eyes, but more like I think it got a little more progressive. I mean, New York, Brooklyn, New York was like the epicenter of like the hipster black metal scene. But I mean, you had Liturgy there like way before. I think now I don't want to like knock my own scene, but I feel like there's not as much stuff coming out of New York right now. I mean, unless you know something that I don't, but I feel like New York, there's nothing like there's nothing creative going on. Like, and I know that people are gonna be mad about this, but
No,
I just feel
isn't
like New York is not it's not it right now.
isn't I feel like isn't Imperial Triumphant from New
Yes.
York? Yeah,
I mean, but they're never home, you know?
yeah.
Like they're always touring. Yeah, so they're not around. And I
Yeah.
mean, Yellow Eyes, of course, but I can't like
Love
think of
Yellow Eyes.
yeah, I just can't think of any New York band that's like killing it right now. Like, this is really sad. Also, like I have like a baby now, so I have no idea what's going on. Like I haven't gone to shows in forever. So I'm a little bit out of touch in terms of like live stuff, but
Hmm.
I still think Yellow Eyes is like the top New York band for sure. But yeah, I totally forgot about Imperial Triumph, but I get like so many emails from them when they have because I like never unsubscribe from Bandcamp emails because I feel
Yeah.
guilty. I don't know. I just like punish myself with them. So I get like one new merch item from them a day. I get an email about.
Yeah, I also have so many Bandcamp emails, and Imperial Triumphant does stand out in how many they send out, and they like auction off things on their Bandcamp, like they like have their like guitars, and they're like, hey, we're just selling this. You want to buy it? It's on our
I'm glad
Bandcamp.
that someone else also like noticed the emails, but there are some
Yeah.
bands and some labels that send out like way more emails than others, and like I don't mind it. I mean, I'm not gonna unsubscribe, but
Mhm.
yeah, I mean it could be a lot, especially on Fridays.
Fridays are interesting for me too, if you're ever like as someone in the press, because I wake up and I have my personal email that gets flooded with Bandcamp stuff, and then my Beaver Mosh email is like beard that by double from all the label telling me, hey, this is out. Like I know I saw it on Bandcamp, but like it's like so much like I get a lot of music sent to me. That's what I'm
I
trying
can't even imagine. Like as a fan, I
to
get a lot. I mean, when I
say.
was sending out press releases and stuff for like big labels, I would always send out stuff on Tuesdays and Thursdays between 10:30 and 11:30. I found was like the prime time when you wanted to bother media, and it always seemed to work. I'd rather die before sending out like a PR email on a Monday or a Friday because it's gonna get buried. No one's gonna see it.
That's interesting because I do notice I get a lot of emails like around the same times. If any PR company is listening to this and want a tip from somebody who's like your market who's sending this out, I don't know if I speak for everybody, but just the way I schedule my week and how I like, buy reviews. I listened to my promos on Wednesdays. There you go. Wednesdays. Wednesdays are the days to send me stuff.
I'm
Okay.
like writing this down. I'm gonna make a note. I tried it
Yeah.
because I mean I was a publicist and I
Yeah.
find myself breaking my own rules. Like I sent something out on like a Sunday once and I'm like, what, who am I? Like this is so wrong.
See, Sunday is bad because I'm still catching up from like Friday releases on Sundays. Mondays and Tuesdays, I'm like, okay, I've listened to everything. I kind of want to just like listen to music for my own self for these days. Wednesday, let's get back in and kind of catch up for what's coming up, what's coming out, what do I need to prep myself for. So Wednesday and sometimes Thursday and Friday is new release day. That's just how my brain operates my week of listening.
I mean, I prefer Tuesdays to do a nice Tuesday email,
Yeah,
but like also I don't use Holics anymore because I can't afford it. So I send out each email individually.
yeah,
So it takes a while. So like
that makes
sometimes
sense.
yeah, sometimes it goes into the next day, but I'm really gonna try and get better at doing Tuesday mornings just for you.
Okay,
So you don't
Holics
have to
is
wait until Wednesday.
Yeah. Holix is super nice as a promo receiver. I mean, it's just because like it it and this is like very much like industry talk, but like it their program, their desktop app kind of thing, it organizes the promos for you like by
I love it. It's so good.
by date, and it'll like just like highlight and always show you stuff that's coming out within 30 days. So like I can like just like I don't have to like have a spreadsheet or anything. It is my spreadsheet. It just does it for me. And then the other one, Promo Jukebox, kind of does the same thing. And so it's really it makes my job super. I can be very lazy about it.
No, it's Holics is a great tool. I'm still on the website. I'm
Yeah.
like one of the testimonials, and I'm like, why aren't they giving me a free account? My picture used to be on there. So, I mean, come on, guys. Matt, if you're watching, please give me a Holics account.
You've
But
heard it right here. I support this.
thank you,
Please give the
Matt.
yeah,
Yes.
Matt. What are you doing, Matt?
I should just ask. But
Yeah.
I think I've been thinking about using SoundCloud for promos.
Okay, that's how I do have a couple labels who do send it that way, which is perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, because I mean the way I'm doing it, like, because I have so much music and like all of this music is already released, and like a lot of it, I just stick on Google Drive, which I still have to like pay for the storage. But
Yeah.
I know it's irritating. And this is just pure industry talk. Um, because like I used to be, I mean, I know like
Yeah.
what it's like for you guys, and I know that it's frustrating. So I'm just trying to come up with a solution, and I feel like SoundCloud is just going to be the way to go.
If you're still watching this and this interests you, I'm glad. if you want to turn it off, I would not be offended because this
This
is
is like what interests me though. Like this is the
yeah.
stuff I really want to talk about.
um, here's my complaint. So all of the like promo software we have for like getting stuff to me, the desktop version is fantastic. But like I'm in the service industry. I commute a lot. I sometimes I listen like when I'm opening a shop. The mobile apps for that stuff or the mobile capabilities suck. It just doesn't work. I
Is there
can't.
anything that like has a good mobile version?
I mean, like I can pull up like the individual emails and kind of let it stream from like the email, but sometimes it gets like delayed or it freezes or like it just like refreshes on itself. It's very glitchy. SoundCloud is why you kind of brought it up. The only thing about SoundCloud like mobile version fucking sucks. It just doesn't work.
No, it's I mean like
Yeah.
even like Bandcamp mobile. So there's two Bandcamp apps. There's the user and the artist one. The artist one is great because it like
Yeah.
organizes orders and everything. But like the fan app, it's awful.
It
And like
it
listening to music, it sucks.
it I found it is serviceable, but yeah, it's not as effective. Sadly, Spotify is the best in terms of functionality for that, even though Spotify is just it's Spotify, we all hate it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do. But yeah, it's good to know about SoundCloud because like I never even thought about writers listening on their phones. Like that
Yeah.
never even occurred to me until now. And that's such like a I mean, you guys are real people
Yeah.
doing real stuff. And most people like don't do this for a living. Like imagine if we could all live off of this. If I could live and we could both live off like that would be great. But no. Because the black metal industry is not an industry despite what people say about Black
Yeah.
Braid and stuff. Like none of us are making any money. But yeah, that's like really good to keep in mind is that when you're like sending stuff to people, they're real people. They need to like it needs to be realistic and applicable. So yeah, I think
You
I don't
heard
know.
that. Subscribe to Patreons, buy tapes. Nobody's making money off of this. We would like
No,
to, but
we would love to, but no one. It's
yeah.
someone told me. I was talking to another label this morning, and they're like, one Dungeon Synth dollar is like one negative dollar in real, which is
I I think I've made, and maybe I've made like $50 off of Beaver Mosh from like Ko-Fi donations
that's
ever.
impressive.
And this microphone cost $70, so I am very much in the hole. Like I have not made anything off of this, but
I spend so much money on like stickers and envelopes,
yeah,
and like it just like it's a wash. It's a wash, and the rest gets
yeah,
donated, so it doesn't even matter.
right. Yeah. We're not doing it for the money. We're doing it because we love the music, but like being able to pay bills would be nice.
Yeah, if like, but
Yeah.
if someone wants to make money, don't open a label. Don't do it.
No.
Like, no, you're just no. And then don't do vinyl because yeah, don't do it. It's so expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, do it if you love it, but like, if you're a small label, start with tapes. I think
Hmm.
that's more realistic. And that's another reason why I like them because it makes it more logical to do more releases for more like smaller artists and it gives artists a chance because not everyone can spend thousands of dollars on vinyl for an artist that may or may not be successful. But tapes, yeah.
Do you think CDs have a place? Is there a market for that?
In Europe, yeah. Europeans love
Interesting.
their CDs, but Europeans don't want CDRs. And what a lot of people don't realize is that in the US, if you want to make CDs, you need to make a minimum of 300 of them, or
Hmm.
else like it's gonna be like $1,000 to make CDs. So most of the labels you're buying CDs from, if they're a small run, they're CDRs, and you won't notice a difference. And CDRs are fine. There's nothing wrong with them. They sound the same. They look great. But in Europe, sometimes they don't play on the players, and
Yeah.
Europeans are snobby about CDs.
Yeah.
So if there is a place for CDs in Europe and some random people in the US like them, some of the bands I work with, like they insist on CDs. The only time I put out CDs is when the band insists on it, or
Hmm.
else because I don't have a CD player. I don't own one.
I have a DVD player, but I could play CDs on, but I don't. Yeah, I don't.
I haven't seen a DVD player in 10 years. Like I don't even know what they look like anymore. Like I don't have anything like I can't play a disc in my computer. I had to get this. So I had a band from Ireland send me the only remaining copy of a CD they had
Yeah.
from Ukraine like 10 years ago. All right, I misplaced it first of all. I just found it, thank God. And then I had to get this so I could get the data off and then like just for one CD. So yeah, I'm not a fan, but I do
Can't
hope they come back.
can't gaming consoles play CDs, or do they lose that functionality?
I don't know. I
I feel
think
like an
so,
Xbox could play one.
which I don't have, of course,
Yeah.
but you're probably right. But yeah, I mean, CDs are way cheaper to make than tapes. So like to get, I mean, a CD can cost like $1 or two if you
Mhm.
make a bunch of them. So I mean, it's more cost effective, but like who wants a CD?
I think for me, and like I said, I won't go into the I know I've seen like popular metal YouTubers who do their collection updates who are like crazy about CDs. Like it just the appeal for me is
Where are these people?
Brain Smasher is like talks about how they love CDs over vinyl. Like, cool. I don't get it. It's for me, like, tapes have this like nostalgic factor, and vinyl, you're really interacting with like the physical form. I feel like I don't have a lot of CDs because it just still feels like a digital
Sorry,
artifact.
I told you there would be a baby cry.
Oh, it's all good.
Okay. But yeah, no, I think yeah, with CDs, there's no interacting because like you're not like you don't have to like turn anything over. You just kind of like put it in and then that's the end of the interaction. But with vinyl, you're like constantly messing with it. With tape, you're messing with it. You're opening and closing it. With the CD, it's like a jewel case that's gonna crack and break and like you don't really there's no like physical because you can't
No.
touch the CD or else you're gonna like smudge it and get it all messed up. So I think like especially with tapes, you can like get your grubby hands all over it and it's still gonna play fine.
Hmm.
Like my toddler can like get his little hands all over the tape and like it's still
Hmm.
gonna play. So I also like that it's like more durable because I have dogs. They get in everything. I had to
Yeah.
come up with a solution for them to like not they've like eaten a bunch of like really rare tapes.
Oh no.
Yeah, like I had a like this one wood smoke tape. It was in like a felt case and like
Yeah.
I left the room and then I came back in and it was like one long string and I still have it. It's in pieces. And they ate like a swarp tape that was like $50. But yeah, but the tapes are fine. I mean, but like in terms of being able to like store stuff and have stuff that's like dog and toddler proof, I think tapes like are the way to go. And that's why I like the soft cases too.
My dog has definitely chewed stuff of mine, but for some reason, and she can definitely reach it. She has just never messed with the vinyl. I think she recognizes, she knows that, oh, those are Maddie's prized possession. Like
Oh no, my
I don't touch his mom's vinyl.
yeah, no, my dog's like, oh, like she likes that, like let me pee on it. It's purposeful. It's malicious and vindictive, which
Yeah,
is fine.
my dog
I
has
don't
never
think anyone can.
peed on any of my stuff, but
Oh, my
she
stuff
has
gets
chewed it.
stolen constantly.
Oh
Nothing is
no.
safe and nothing is sacred.
She will like eat my food. She will like jump on the table and take a bite of my salad. She has done that like today.
Well, I
But she
mean,
doesn't.
it's her food and it's your food. Nothing is truly yours. If it's food, it's also
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah, that was we are that was a commie moment right there.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the only time the system works.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Well,
that's as political as I'll get.
pet dogs. I see your mug.
Yeah, this is my favorite possession, which I'm surprised has not been broken yet, but it's only a matter of time.
Oh, before I let you go, I do want to ask you, just I don't know why that reminded me, but like you like I think I have one right here. Something that's unique about your label, you send me like little knickknacks with everything. Like what's the story behind that? They're so cute.
I love them. I feel like I should put a note because someone tried to eat one, and I was
It's a
like,
little lizard.
so I always try and like I try and match the color to the color of the tape, or like
Yeah.
someone says they like a specific animal, I'll make a note and I'll put it in. But like I feel like because there's room in the envelope, you gotta like take
Yeah.
advantage of it. And I thought they were just so fun, and my son loves them, and they're good for like stress relief, but please don't eat them.
No,
They're
okay. This is
edible.
not candy.
No, because Sean from Realm and Ritual, like the first time I sent it, I sent one that was like shaped like a piece of cake, and he actually tried to eat it. So,
No.
so we had a Zoom meeting, and he was like, "Listen, like I need to talk to you. Like, what's the deal?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like maybe I need to like make a disclaimer." But I think now with the animal shaped ones, it's like
Yeah.
it's more obvious that it's just, but like I feel
I
like
don't know. Like gummy worms and gummy bears are a thing. People eat gummy animals.
that's true.
Yeah.
It's more like I just want everyone to have like a little friend or like something to like make them smile because I mean, it's a dark world we live in.
It
And
is.
if you could just like add something unexpected with that like vampiric black metal tape. I mean, I don't know. I love stuff that's cute and I just think everyone deserves it.
Okay,
So
so it makes sense. Like for me too, I love cute little doggies. But it's funny. It's like that meme, right? Like your label exists. It's like dark music, cute little bunnies. Like it's so it's so great. The aesthetic, the juxtaposition makes it
I
so
mean, it's
special.
just it's all over the place.
Yeah,
I don't know. I love things that are like soft and warm and feminine because I think that we should be able to be women at the same time and then
yeah,
also like, have our dark black metal. I mean, or whatever you want to do. I just think that you
yeah,
could have that duality. You could be both. You don't have to pick one or the other.
yeah. I actually have a sticker on my fridge that you had sent me. It's I really like it. It's the maybe today Satan, and it has like a cute little animal on it, but it's also like a demon. And it's fantastic.
I love those. Those are the pastel goth stickers. There's another one that says like, oh, like Hail Satan, but it's like Satan. Like, and all the that's like my favorite is like those little like devil kittens. Like I just like that's my prime aesthetic is that like pink wear goat kind of thing. That's what I go for.
Yeah, it's good. It's very good.
I'm glad there's an audience for it because sometimes I'm like,
I'm your
oh,
audience.
I'm so that makes me so happy because sometimes I'm like, people are gonna like this is a deeply unserious label, which is fine. This is a deeply unserious label. I but I mean I do take things very seriously, but I think that we should also have fun and because metal is hilarious. I mean, like, look at these guys like marching around in corpse paint with like themselves in the forest and whatever. It's hilarious. We should be able
Our music is ridiculous. We're
it is
nobody
ridiculous.
we're nobody who's into we're nerds. We just gotta accept it. Like, that's just who we are. We have there's no it's ridiculous. It's great. But we gotta say that. Just own it. Don't try to hide it.
Yeah.
Don't try to mask it.
There's nothing serious about black metal. And like if you take it seriously, you can't. Like no one actually can take it seriously, especially if you look at any promo photo from the 90s or even now. Like no, it's a deeply unserious genre, and I think like we need to own that, and that makes us more powerful.
There's nothing serious about that. There's
No,
just
no. And they knew exactly what they were going for with
yeah.
it. I had a
They,
feeling it was like gonna be at something immortal related. I
yeah.
mean, like those guys are having a good time.
Abbott just was in on the joke. And
But
I
my
do take black
favorite,
metal seriously sometimes.
it's like,
I admit it. Yeah.
yeah, but just splish splash, I was taking Abbott, that whole thing. It's so lame. But yeah, I mean, like that's why like people on Twitter always make me laugh because it's not that serious, guys. Just like just have fun, make a joke. Also like don't support fascist at the same time. But
No,
yeah,
that's why I love like metal meme Reddits. It's like make fun of it. It's fun. You can
it
love
is
it
fun.
and self-bury it.
Yeah, and I think like the more that we're able to communicate about that and laugh, I think that like the more open it gets, if that makes sense. Because
Yeah.
like we could actually talk and have discussions about it because I think you should be able to talk about anything, especially with this music, and continue to ask questions. But with that, like comes a certain amount of openness, and I think just willing to accept mistakes and find humor and stuff. And I think like that's the only way that we're gonna grow and improve. I sound like a teacher or like a parent, but it's true.
Well, Barry, I'm looking at the clock now, and this is by far the longest interview I've ever done. But I think
I'm
it's
so
just,
sorry.
no, it's great. It's partially my fault too, and I hope the viewers are happy with a 90-minute interview. But it's been so natural and so fun to talk to you. So I'm gonna probably try to wrap this up here, but I gotta let you kind of take the floor here, just like plug where can people support your label, people find your records, and anything else you want to share before we kind of end this thing.
Yeah, first of all, if you could put water outside of your house if it's really hot out, wildlife sometimes they don't have access to natural water sources, and just having like a small bowl of water outside, make sure if it's not still water, you want to like replace it every day. If you could just leave out some water for any wildlife in your area or any stray cats or dogs in this weather, it could be life-saving. So that's just one thing I want to plug.
Fantastic.
Also fireworks. It's that time. I in my neighborhood, a bunch of assholes like they do it all summer. Keep your dogs inside with the fireworks because that's when most dogs go missing because they get so scared they just like bolt. Anyway, I just want to get that out there.
Yeah, no, great.
Fiadh.bandcamp.com is where all of our records are. We're currently raising money for Heartstone Sanctuary, which is a sanctuary for mainly farmed animals in County Sligo. It's run by one woman who's incredible. And because of climate change and other factors, the sanctuary is like literally sinking. And she needs to move all the animals to another space. So it's one woman taking care of like 30 cows and a bunch of other animals, and she needs our help. So I'm trying to like mobilize as much support as I can. I'm selling a bunch of really obnoxious pink long sleeves to support her. And you could do that. Any album you buy, name your price, that all gets donated. So every dollar counts. It really does. Despite Bandcamp's 10% and payment processor fee, everything else, 100% of it goes to support animals and
Mhm.
other causes. And always support artists directly if you can. I always want to say that. And the other one thing I'll say is that the reason why prices are so high in Bandcamp is because we want you to buy directly from the artists. So we bypass that revenue cut and payment processor fee. And that's how artists get paid. So
Mhm.
if you want to buy a digital album, no matter what label it is, always support the artist directly if there's an option. Even major labels, support that artist directly if you can. And yeah, support artists, support Maddie, support shows like this, and
Thank you.
just wear pink. Wear pink sometimes. It doesn't always have to be black and white. Even though I like white. But yeah. Oh, and listen to the new Bergfried. That's all I gotta say
Yes,
about
I do own a pink shirt. I just had to throw that out.
Oh, what is it, like a band shirt?
No, it's like it's so what I've said is like it's my accent shirt. I wear it like in the fall with a black leather jacket,
I
but
like that.
it's pink and black. It's striped, but it is like a very much when I wear it, people are like, whoa, that's color. You're wearing color? Yeah, yeah. I can wear color. I am not strictly black band shirts, but I have it.
Especially with like the leather jacket. That's like that's a sick look. I love that. I love like that balance, and that's like everything that we go for. So
Yeah.
I 100% FIA approved.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. Well, Barry, thanks again for joining me. It was a very fun conversation. I wish the best for you and the label. And hey, my name is Maddie, aka Beaver Mosh. I have a Twitter you can follow. We link that in the bio of this YouTube channel. Tell me what you thought of this interview. I have a Patreon now that you can support. No pressure, but it does help kind of keep this sustainable. I will be putting out monthly content for subscribers and keep it metal. I'm signing off.